tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I feel motivated.
I know. You gotta be motivated when Rocky comes on.
Let's run up the stairs. Woohoo! Welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. It's Biggest Loser like you've never seen before. It's the recap show. It is season 16, episode 3. What better way to start the double header, 2-time challenge series than with Rocky. God bless Rocky.
You gotta love him.
I'm AJ Rochester. I'm not alone this week.
Hey. I'm so sad I missed it, but you held it down.
Yes, you did.
She can hold it down on her own. Congrats to you. I've seen everybody commenting.
Yeah. Thank you.
They loved you, so I'm happy to be here and hear your accent in person. I love it.
G'day, mate. How you going? Now let me introduce my co-hosts. We have two beautiful, lovely ladies. To my left.
Yep, Morgan Martin. So excited to finally be joining you guys. You guys have been holding it down, so I'm excited to be joining in.
Yeah, welcome.
I'm Fallon, you guys. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at FitWithFallon, and make sure to check out my fitness blog called fitwithfallon.com.
You're going to whip us all into shape. Speaking of which, this series is amazing. It really is like no other. They really have switched it up. You can expect the unexpected and then expect a little more unexpected. Opened up, they're standing outside the gym and they say, we have a surprise for you. And they walk in and it's the wall of glory. And it's all the contestants' photos of their glory days as athletes.
I think that's something that every athlete lives in. You know, I was just speaking with you about your dad. He was a football player, and I'm like, does he still live in his glory days? And it comes to a point like, you know, that's your biggest achievement that you made. So it's something that you always look back on. But now they have an opportunity, being on Biggest Loser. Now they have a chance to, you know, redo this is their glory days now, losing this way on this national television show. So I think that would motivate them even more, like, hey, you know, I have a second chance.
Yeah.
When they got really emotional.
Yeah.
And Jessie just said, look, you know, your glory days don't have to be behind you. They can be in front of you.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think for them, that was like their pinnacle moment, you know? It's like when they were at their heyday, the height of whatever it is that their sport was. And so you could just see their eyes light up because they watched themselves in that uniform again, and you could just see that spark. And I know for any athlete, going back to that is always sheer motivation, because for most of them, that's where they were really at their best.
Yeah, and as a trainer, I think you would appreciate this. They were saying, find something that inspires you, be it, you know, the trophy or the award or an item of clothing. You know, find something that inspires you to work hard.
Yeah, even Damien, seeing his picture where he was holding his Super Bowl cup, I kind of felt emotional. I felt it with him, like, you know, yes, that's the highest you can peak in football, you know, holding that Super Bowl cup. So for him to, I think he has a great possibility of winning the Biggest Loser. He's my favorite out of the whole crew. He just, I don't know, there's his personality. Even at the end, later on in the episode, we see him, you know, really cheer for his team. He's the leader on his team, to me, it looks like.
Yeah, and I think, especially there's a lot of football players, like ex-football players. So there's, I mean, even Scott, and there's something about, I mean, because that football mentality, it's, yes, of course, pushing yourself in, but it's such a team-driven sport. So they already have that mentality of like, okay, yes, I have to push myself, but they're all about the team, and that's why like Damien and Scott are two of my favorites for that reason.
Those boys are strong contenders.
Who's your favorite?
I actually think the old guy, Mike, who's actually injured and continually pulls great numbers. I mean, he pulls numbers that he shouldn't be pulling. He's got a major injury.
Yeah, the first week he lost the most. He lost something crazy like 28 pounds, and I was just like, I have never seen that as a trainer. Somebody lose 28 pounds. I think I had one client lose like 14 pounds, but that was the most. So that I actually was kind of worried. I'm like, what is he doing behind the scenes that would make you lose 28 pounds? But I guess maybe if you were athletic and you haven't worked out for so long, you're injured, you know, maybe your body isn't used to, you know, what you're doing, goes into shock and lose the most weight. But what usually happens is when you lose a lot of weight quickly, then you slow down. Yeah, you plateau, you slow down. You know, second week weigh-ins, what we'll talk about later, you know, you'll be surprised at the numbers that they pulled.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I kind of mentioned that last week going, it's going to be really hard, particularly these people are very athletic and they have muscle memory, and the whole muscle weighs 4 times more than fat. And these people, I was interested to know whether that would bring smaller numbers on the scale, because traditionally Bob and Jillian are cardio, 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 strip the fat, you know, don't build muscle, even though it's a healthier alternative to real life. So we'll see what happens towards the weigh-in, whether that's really affected. So we find out, we go into the challenge, the very first challenge. It's not physical, it's mental, intellectual, and it's a quiz. It's a quiz on nutrition.
Yeah.
Because 80% of, you know, losing weight and getting into shape is nutrition. I know I recently lost 20 pounds this summer, and that is one thing that was mandatory. I had to really scale back on all the crazy foods I was eating. I was working on a TV show, so I was eating Crafty on set all the time. And I was like,
what is that with craft services? The actresses are 100 pounds, and yet you go to craft services and it's full of food that they would never ever eat.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so true.
People behind the scenes end up eating it. But yeah, so what I did was I had a food journal, and I wrote every single thing down, counted calories, and that really helped me. So I think it's great that they actually did a nutrition aspect on the show to show the contestants, like, listen, if you want to lose the weight, it's great to be in the gym, but if you can't control what goes in your mouth, you're not going to see the results that you want to see.
And that was what it was all about.
Yeah, and I think it's important because it's one of those things where, I mean, I'm sure as audience members watching, I'm sure they were surprised of like how much fat and how many calories are in so many different things, and because you don't think about that.
Well, yeah, they walk in, and to the left of them are beautiful tomatoes and grapes and apples and all these beautiful healthy foods.
Tomatoes again?
Tomatoes.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
You say tomatoes, I say tomatoes. Let's call the whole thing off. And then on the other side are, you know, burgers and pizza, and it's really interesting to see, you know, them gravitate towards that food. Mac and cheese. Hold on, let me drool. You know, and they were really also not just kind of questioning the fact that they didn't understand the calories, but they have a strong emotional attachment to these foods. Yeah. And I can speak from experience as an emotional eater and having kind of battled with my weight my whole life. You know, one of them said, oh, I realized my battle is more about breaking this bond with the food.
I just recently, again, I do a fitness blog, and I sat down with a acupuncturist, and they have weight loss. And I was asking the acupuncturist, I'm like, you know, how can acupuncture help you lose weight? He said, you know, it's more mental. There's a connection between, you know, food and your emotions and even stress. He was like, we sit there, they'll put needles in your certain pressure points that helps I guess stop those triggers between, you know, your emotional connection, and helps relieve stress. So you're not as stressed, you're more calm, so you're not as likely to go reach for the Doritos.
Right. No, that makes sense.
You could give them my number. That'd be great.
Actually, no, I will. He's great. Actually, I can have him on the show if you care to talk to him. But
yeah. So they get in, and they've got to take this quiz. Only one member of the team can speak for the whole team, and they have to say what they think is the calories, higher, lower, carbohydrates, higher, lower. But here's the beautiful twist, and this is what I love about this year. Normal temptations, it's like you can eat all of these calories and you'll be immune for the week, which is kind of crazy because you're in a weight loss show.
Exactly.
Why would you be doing that? And it's been one of the things that Biggest Loser has been given a lot of grief over. This year, they're changing the rules. It really is very all about let's get these people healthy. So this year, the twist is the trainers have to eat the food if they get it wrong.
And their faces eating some of that food, I I thought they were going to throw up right there on the spot. But part of me was like, you enjoyed it just a little bit. There's a little bit of glory in that.
Jen was ripping into that burger pretty happily. I could see she was like,
I live tweet when I'm watching the show, and I was scrolling down the different tweets, and Brooklyn Sanders, she tweeted, Dolvett, don't act like you never had a cheeseburger before in your life.
Come on.
We know you're eating the craft services on site too.
So it was classic. The pecan pie was 900 calories. The burger was 1,400 calories. 1,400 calories. That's more than a day's worth of calories for most people.
Way more.
I was eating 1,000 or more a day. Sometimes 800
pretty normal.
calories.
Yeah. So, they're hoeing into these calories. I worked it out that the trainers had to eat 1,700 calories worth of penalty food, which is kind of funny.
I bet you some of them went backstage and like...
Yeah, they're like, this is not staying in.
Well, you could see Dolvett was really, really angry, and he was like, I'm not working this off alone in the gym. You are coming with me. And you can see them go, uh-oh.
Yeah.
So that was kind of good. White team brought it home. They won. They've got a 2-pound advantage at the weigh-in. And it's funny, like normally 2-pound advantage is this close early in the game. It's week 3. It doesn't really matter. But these are physiologically very different people. I've been predicting a very slow weigh-in this week. So 2 pounds could be everything for these people. So it could be very important. So white team win.
Yeah.
You have a behind-the-scenes inside scoop since you hosted for Australia. So how long do they have? Like we see a show, but how many days is that they've worked out? They say a week, but is it really a week?
Yeah, no, it's really not. And, it's kind of been fairly controversial in the past, but I really truly believe that Biggest Loser really want to make amends and start fresh this year and be very honest and very upfront.
Yeah.
And, a week on television could be as long as a month. Which is why they get such amazing numbers.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 28 pounds or, the first week. I'm like, it didn't calculate for me. It didn't add up.
Yeah. And I think that's important that we be honest, because people at home go, why can't I lose 17 pounds like the people on Biggest Loser? And that's why.
Right.
It's not that it's not real. It's just TV and they've got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Because honestly, a healthy weight loss per week is 2 pounds.
Yeah.
That's healthy.
Absolutely.
Sometimes in the beginning when you're working out, you'll lose more, but you'll get to a point where you plateau and then you really have to work for those minus 2 pounds.
Yeah. And I think that's important because at the end of the day, there's so many people watching the shows that really are trying to be a Biggest Loser, lose all of these pounds. So when it's dishonest and it's like, wait a minute, you have these people that are trying to actually do this and do it in the right way. And if they're setting these like unhealthy, unrealistic goals, it makes it really difficult to stay motivated if it's like, well, wait a minute, they lost 28 pounds and I'm only losing 1 or 2. So they need to really shift it because it's important.
And it's really funny when the contestants come in because I hosted Biggest Loser Australia for 4 years. We had Bob and Jillian for 2 years. And when the contestants first come in, they're all about the integrity and honesty and trying to get them to say, oh, this week they absolutely die hard refuse, they throw little tantrums, and about week 3 they break and just go, yeah, this week has been amazing. They kind of get, it's like, come on, just get with the program. You signed up, just do it, So it's always kind of funny to see those little things change. Yeah. So we've done that. We've got the 2-pound advantage for white team. We pop over to Sideshow Bob and Comeback Canyon.
Sideshow Bob.
That's cute.
That's a good one. I like it.
Just as much a comeback for Bob because I do believe that this is do or die for him. He really has to prove himself. These new trainers are awesome. I think what's really obvious is there's no drama in the gym because these people like to work out.
Yeah.
So normally when we've got the tantrums and the big dramas, we have so much more time for really riveting television.
Yeah.
Great stories, inspiring quotes, and, just more things to kind of become attached to and people to really fall in love with. Do you think?
And I think this is, it's different. I mean, these are, like you said, these are athletes. So they're used to pushing themselves. They're used to working together as teams. All the drama and stuff, I'm sure their coaches weren't having any of it. So they're already in that mentality of like, I need to get it done. And we hear that even, towards the end in the weigh-in or they're in that same mentality of like, okay, this is where I am, this is where I need to be, what do I need to do to get there?
Yeah.
So you don't have any of that bickering and all that because they don't have time for that.
It's better TV. It's a better show.
Yeah.
It's totally a better show this year. I love it. You know, I'm slightly addicted. So we're at Comeback Canyon and we find out that it's Emmy and Andrea, who ironically are friends, and the last two girls were friends as well.
Yeah.
So we've got the friends beating the friends. And I predicted this last week. I said it's going to be really, really hard for the person who's been at Comeback Canyon the week before to sustain strong enough numbers to beat the person coming in. Because the person coming in pretty much at this stage have had weak numbers and they're getting kicked out because they're a weak member of the team. It's only when it gets really, really competitive that they start getting rid of the big players because they need those numbers right now.
Yeah.
So that person who's had a crappy number the week before, they're going to come in and probably have a really good week. So that's kind of the element of competition that we drop in on and then we kind of head back out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thanks, Bob. Yep, see you later. Oh, no, there's really one really sweet thing that we find out there, and it's Emmy's story.
Yeah.
Which is of her being bullied at school.
Yeah.
And it's just heartbreaking. You know, kids used to oink at her in school.
And I'm glad they shared that because, I mean, that's unfortunately it's not uncommon. And I think it's good to tap into what their motivators are because for her, you know, even just you could hear her even talking and reminiscing about that. It triggered something in her to be like, I don't want to be that person anymore. And even talking about her daughter, she wants better for her family. So whenever I feel like when we can tap into the why, which is so important, that changes the whole game for everybody.
And we were all crying, of course. I mean, seriously, why does Kleenex not sponsor this show?
That's a good one. Good
we love it, me. So we move into the second challenge, part 2, and it's a cycle challenge. I kind of feel a little bit like we've been there, done that. I was kind of like, oh, really? We're going to be locked in a room, you're all on cycles, and you have to cycle the most.
I want to see like a survivor moment
right.
where, you got to go out, they'll just drop them off, and they have to like hike back and pitch tents and try to cook healthy food.
Or eat a contestant.
Exactly, yeah. So you producers out there listening, we want to see Biggest Loser / Survivor.
Yeah,
I
think that's really important to remind that we really do love the challenges, and when you rehash them, we kind of get a little bit like,
bored.
Oh, please, come on.
Yeah. And then we want to see what the contestants are truly made of. And, if you were to be dropped off somewhere, you don't know where you are, and you have to really hone in and figure out, how do I get back? What do I need to do? Work out, lose weight.
Something that's unexpected because I mean at the end of the day it's like, okay, I see the bike in front of me, I'm gonna cycle as hard as I possibly can, but when you have to try to do something to either push yourself even further or the unexpected, I feel like it would bring a different dynamic, and I think this group in particular could totally handle that.
Like you could give these people a marathon or a triathlon really early in the piece.
A triathlon, that would be a great
that's
one.
good.
I'm sure they're going to bring that in, but maybe they're going, maybe they'll peak too soon or go out too hard, because normally the triathlon is the thing that they save till the end. I mean, these people are already working out months ahead of what normal contestants are. I mean, it literally takes a couple of months to kind of break them into just not whinging, moaning and vomiting on the treadmill. For real.
I hope they bring in maybe each of their sport. Maybe they can have them play an intense football game, and
they always do that.
They
always try to like manage challenges so that somebody gets to shine. That it'll kind of be tweaked for someone.
And we saw that a little bit today in just terms of like them just like playing like catch or a little bit, but I would love to see like a real maybe a real flag football game or something to really like see each of these contestants really in their element
and their competitive nature come out.
I have to tell you a really funny story about Jillian Michaels.
Bring it.
Hey, wait, can we get an exclusive?
Yes.
I've been dying to tell this story. It is so hilarious. So we did that. We had a soccer player and we had the Australian soccer team, the Wallabies, and I know, it was all Socceroos.
Can you take us to Australia? We'll do it behind
Let's do it.
I'm
AFTERBUZZ TV
there.
on tour.
Biggest Loser Australia.
So Jillian comes out. She's like, oh, yeah, I played soccer. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I played all the time. I'm so awesome. And then she comes out and she's got the socks and the shin pads on the outside of the socks. And we're kind of like, Jillian, I know you might have like played soccer professionally, but you put the shin pads on the inside of your socks, not the outside.
That's funny. What was her reaction?
Well, it was all like, who's going to tell her? Because they're all a little afraid of her.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll just let that slide.
Let's just draw a short straw. Well, no, because you can't let it go on camera and look like an idiot.
Yeah,
Very true.
So I think we just drew short straws, and so one of the producers kind of gently whispered to her, but it's kind of funny. We love Jillian so much. Jillian who? Okay, so the cycle, the cycle, 24.8 miles. That's what they have to do, the first person or the first team to get there. The only team to have a strategy is what team? Jen.
Yeah, I'm Team Jen.
Oh, girl crush.
I'm Team Jen. And I mean, it was brilliant. So where everybody else is just like pedaling with no plan, hoping it works out, she had a perfect plan of, she had 3 just basically doing a really good steady pace, and then she had 2 that would switch out on and off. And I'll be honest, at first I was like, I don't know if it's gonna work, because they were behind pretty much the entire way, all the way up until the end. And then
but
you know,
is it? Slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady wins the race. It's exactly what it was.
Turtle, the tortoise and the hare, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly
what happened, because they were all tiring out, the team, they were falling back, and then all of a sudden White were forging ahead, and then they just all stayed on, and they, I mean, blew everyone away. And that equaled, now they got the 4-pound advantage. That's a 6-pound advantage at weigh-in. I mean, you would think unbeatable. You would think.
Yeah.
You would hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
Dun, dun, dun.
So here's the little twist again in the challenge, because here's what I love about these things. It's not just all cut and dried. It's not just like, okay, you're going to win the challenge and you're going to get this. It's like, but wait, you know, there's something else. Yeah. And if they got to choose, they could either keep the 4-pound advantage. Now, they already had a 2-pound. They could keep the 4-pound, or they could get letters from home. But if they didn't take the letters from home, the other teams got the letters from home. Oh.
Yeah. You know, I think it's always a tough call. And I think as a coach, you have to know the morale of your team. So at this point, the White team, they're doing well. You know what I mean? So they didn't need that extra boost, where I think the other teams did.
I just pick up my cell phone and call home, right?
Yeah.
Sure
you do. But you know, it's like, I think you have to know the morale of your team. And I think she knew, she's like, no, we need the points. They're doing well. Where the other teams, I think they really needed that boost.
Laurie was struggling. Laurie's the 2-time Olympian, and she was having a bad week all along. Every time we kind of cut to her, she was crying. She just wanted to speak to her kids. You know, Jessie's like, just they're not here, so just train, you know, but she just couldn't click in.
I can imagine, though, being the mom and away from your children, but, you know, I feel like that would just motivate me even more. Like, my kids are watching, and I got to do this for them.
Right.
Well, and that's the dilemma, though, because from my point of view, I think, do I want the distraction? Because if you read and you go, oh, Mummy, I miss you so much, then your head's not going to be in the game. Yeah. It's going to make it worse.
Yeah,
Lucky for Laurie, she found out that her kid was completely okay. It's like, Mum, just like kids always are.
Exactly. The parents suffer more than the children.
They do.
Right?
It's so
guilt. You cry the first day of school. They don't even know. They don't care 5 minutes after you've gone.
Yeah.
You just need to remember that, mothers. Let go. So they got to read the letters. We were all crying. It was very beautiful. It was a bit of a love-in. And then it's last chance training, which, you know, again, there's not a lot of drama going on. So we cut to a blast from the past, which is Jackson.
I love Jackson.
Yeah, he was so cute.
Him.
Which is really just a plug for Planet Fitness, let me just tell you. But it was kind of cute. He said that there was this, when he was in, I think it was the 3rd week, he lost his trainer, and so he had to train his team.
Yeah,
and from that moment on, he was really into it, and he's now a trainer at Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
So,
do you think you'd be motivated by Jackson if you had him as a trainer?
Well, I'm not going to say it. You say it.
No, that was to you. That was to you.
You can be honest. Sometimes when you're working with a trainer, you want to be motivated. So if they're not in shape, you know, sometimes that doesn't motivate you. And that's one of the things that inspired me to lose the weight. I wanted to get back into training and do fitness reporting. And I'm like, but wait, I don't even feel good about where I'm at right now. So I had to take time out to work on me and my body and, you know, be the place that I wanted to be at before I could train somebody else.
Yeah.
So. I mean, I'm sure that he could really help people who are, you know, big and coming into the gym and are really embarrassed and are really facing that there's only thin people in the gym. So there's certainly a market of people that he would definitely motivate that would relate to him. You know, I mean, people used to say to me, and I was like 140 pounds hosting Biggest Loser, which on TV you always look fatter. And people used to go, oh, you hosting a weight loss show is like buying a crappy old VW for like a guy who drives a VW Beetle but sells Mercedes Benz. And I was like, oh, thanks very much. But I mean, I'd struggled with my weight my whole life, so it's a bit of both. You know, we can relate, we certainly sympathise, we've been through it. But he was, you know, perhaps not as fit as he could be just right now. But that's the Biggest Loser dilemma. They lose all this weight and they get back out in the real world.
When I hosted the after show for the first season, I went to the finale, and in the audience they have a lot of returning Biggest Loser contestants, and you know, everybody kind of reconnects and you kind of check in, see how you're doing. And I was so surprised how much weight the entire audience put on. I was just like, wow, like it's sad to see them be so motivated on TV and to, you know, inspire so many others, and then they go home and then but again, you know, that's the reality of it, is when you're home, you know, you got to find ways to motivate yourself. If you have children and they're eating certain foods, you can't do the same thing they're doing. If you have friends who are eating out all the time and drinking whatever they want, like you have to be disciplined.
Well, I think this is the difference of the trainers that we have. We have Jen and Jessie, and Dolvett was kind of middle ground, but Bob and Jillian were all about the competition element. Definitely, certainly behind the scenes, and we had the drama last year with Jillian and the caffeine pills and all that kind of thing. And believe me, that was not the first time. Let me tell you, that was not the first time. I heard those conversations in Australia about how to get them into Australia. So, you know, where these trainers are very holistic, it's all about the internal journey. You know, it's beautiful. And I think they're really teaching not just the contestants, but everybody who's watching.
And because I think what's important is the competition their push can't just be about the competition to win for the team. It has to be a motivating factor for themselves to be able to push and drive. Obviously, it's for the team. It's a competition. We get that. But I like how they're starting to tap in even more into each individual person and what their drive will be, because that's exactly why I think, I mean, once the competition is over, they have no real desire to really keep going. Whereas if you can tap into the why for each individual person of why it's important, like for them, it's getting back to their glory days, I think we'll see a bit of a difference.
I know Jessie was saying motivation pushes and inspiration
pulls you. I love it. Pushes and pulls.
I like that.
I love that because it's so true. And there's a lot of that. Because we're not focusing on the gym, it really is. There's constant information for people to kind of really latch on and learn. And I do think that these contestants will keep the weight off longer. And I do believe this is the new version of Biggest Loser for many seasons to come.
You said that you would fluctuate up and down. What was the most weight that you were at? And you said you were 140.
I was way lighter than 140.
Were you?
I've been 350 pounds and I have been about 110 pounds.
Oh, wow.
I've like been the gamut. Seriously, if you look in my closet, you would think there are like 4 women who live in my house. There are like clothes that fit all different sizes. And, you know, I kind of say at the moment, I'm getting my TV body back. Look, I kept my TV body for like 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. I actually kept my weight off. I beat all the odds, because the odds are when you lose a lot of weight, 90% of people put it all back in a year, plus more. Well, I lost, 200 pounds and I kept it off for 9 years.
Wow.
And,
for you. That's awesome.
And then I was on TV and I had to lose even more weight to look normal, because it makes you look heavier. And, I got to America and I wasn't working, so I just fell in love with food again. So I just ate everything for a few years, and then I went, oh, now I'm unemployed.
How did you lose the weight initially? How did you lose? Because that's a
lot.
That's a big amount of weight. That's 350 to 110. That's 240 pounds.
Really simple. I just did, 1,200 calories, about 40 grams of fat. I didn't go crazy on anything, and I just started to work out, and I worked out an hour every day.
Consistency.
Huge.
It's consistency. It's everything.
Yeah. And I think Jen said that in the very first episode. She said it's not just this decision, it's every other decision that you make all day, every day from here on in. Because people go, oh, I'm going on a diet on Monday, and then they fall down on Tuesday, and then they go, oh, well, okay, well, I'll wait till next week, and then they eat 5 million calories because it's their last hurrah.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, today I have to make 30 healthy choices. If I make 20, then okay. I'd like to make 25.
Yeah. How long did it take you to lose that much weight?
About a year and a half. I did it slowly. And this lot
That's
that I've
slowly.
lost.
That's a lot.
Well, and this time's been even slower. Like I've lost about 75 pounds in about a year, a little bit over a year. And got about 50 to go. Watch this space. I'll be shrinking every week. A couple of months, you'll be going,
we're going to keep
she
track
looks like that.
Yeah, I like it.
I'll come and
that's
step on the
awesome.
scales each week before we weigh in.
My first show, that's what we would do. We'd step on the scale, and then sometimes I'd be like, I forgot the scale on purpose because I didn't want to weigh in. I just had a pizza. I don't want to weigh in.
I don't weigh myself. I really don't. Because the decision I made was to really get healthy, you know, holistically throughout all of my life versus kind of, you know, eating nothing and working out 5 times a day.
Number counting.
Yeah.
I got it.
And let's be real, the contestants are working out around 3 hours a day. You know, it's not just like a 1 hour workout. You know, it's really important that people know that those numbers are accompanied by a huge amount of workouts.
Of course.
And how much cardio do you think they put in a day?
Oh, a lot. Well, no, here's the thing. I think it's going to be really interesting. I would love to know what the training methods are for this group because they are athletes. They would be used to doing a lot of weights, a lot of weight training, because you as a trainer would know that weight training builds muscle, muscle burns calories, correct?
Yeah.
So that would be the normal prescribed kind of workout. But for this, like Bob and Jillian,
That's what
cardio kings.
They love cardio.
Cardio kings. But we got new trainers, so we don't really know. And I was like, what numbers are they going to get? Are they going to get big
You know,
numbers?
I think there's some backlash from last season with, you know, the winner. She was...
Oh, Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel was so
she was horrible.
skinny.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, this time around, they're like, okay, let's cut back on the cardio as much
Yeah.
because we don't want our contestants to look anorexic when they come out on stage. We want them to look healthy and fit.
Yeah.
Well,
Because that's important.
But they have muscle memory, right? And I don't fully understand muscle memory, which you might be able to explain, but they're going to build the muscle more quickly. But it's going to be heavier on the scale, so they might not get good numbers.
Yeah. It's muscle weighs more than fat, but it also helps you. I don't know, you can lose more weight doing cardio alone, but if you are doing weight training, you'll lose the weight and gain the muscle. So at the end of the day, they'll look healthier.
But they've worked out before, so they've had muscle before.
Yeah,
so don't they
so
build it faster than someone who's
it's
not
faster.
built muscle?
I don't know the details as far like how many years, like 10, 20 years. I don't know. Do you know?
I don't know, but a lot of times too, especially in athletes, not all the muscle deteriorates either. A lot of times what is the fat buildup on top of the muscle that's already there. So a lot of times that muscle's already there. It's just you just can't see it anymore, you know?
So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects their numbers. But what I did notice, their bodies do look different. Regardless of what numbers they're going to get on the scales, their bodies really do look different. And that's a really, really important point because we focus so much on a number and people get so disheartened when it's like, hey, you lost 3 centimeters off your waist. You might not have lost any weight, but you changed shape. It's important to remember.
No, that is.
So we go to Comeback Canyon, Sideshow Bob. I'm sorry, Bob. I'm really sorry. No, I'm not. So it's Andrea and Emmy. Who's going to lose the most weight? Who's going to go home for real this time? And just as I predicted,
You did.
The new girl comes in and trumps the old girl. Andrea loses 4 pounds and Emmy loses 6 pounds.
Yeah.
So again, week after week, out with the old, in with the new. So, and I think it'll continue until we get one of the really big guys who again has that the muscle memory, that big, because you've got to remember also it's body fat percentage. So you've got 2 short girls. It's kind of
I
the
think
same.
that's great though, because that's what it really comes down to is the body fat percentage. Because people lose weight differently, people put on muscle differently, but you want to know, and that's what's going to make you the healthiest, you know, is your body fat percentage.
Yeah. So now we're at the weigh-in. Dun, dun, dun. White team, red team, blue team.
Yep.
White kick it off because they have a 6 pound advantage. There's not really a lot of jeopardy there, so we figure let's get them out of the way.
Yeah.
And some not so great numbers.
Yeah, I mean, you called it, that this week was going to be the week of not as many pounds shed, and that's exact. And you could see the looks on their faces were like, wait a minute, I don't understand why I've only lost 3 pounds, 4 pounds. And to them, they felt like they have worked so hard. So you could tell there's going to be a huge change in the training because pretty much across the board, across all the teams, the weight loss was not so hot.
Well, yeah, it was 7-3, 4-3, 6-4. But insider info, let me just tell you, if I was the white team and I had a 6-pound advantage, I might encourage my people to not dehydrate. Now, there's a lot of, it used to be really bad in the old days, but now Dr. Huizenga makes sure that they don't dehydrate too badly because you can't dehydrate and rehydrate, every time you're at the weigh-in. Yeah. But a lot of it went on. And, predominantly if you had an advantage, you would water load. So that you'd pretend to be a similar weight, and then the next week you'd lose all of your water and that weight loss. So the next week you have a brilliant week. So, maybe, just maybe, they might have had, a little bit of water, a few teas, maybe not cut back on the salt so much a few days before the weigh-in. So they might be carrying a little more natural water. And I predict again that the white team will pull out some massive numbers next week. And I think they kind of played the numbers. We'll see.
That's interesting. I like it.
I mean, it's a great strategy, and Jen's all about the strategy. Like even with the cycle
that is
challenge.
very true.
This is true.
This girl,
I predicted Dolvett was going to take it home. He was going to win it. But now that I'm seeing how Jen plays, I'm like, okay, I see you, Jen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She has a couple of tricks up her sleeve.
She
What
does.
show was she on? What show was it that she was on?
Jen was on.
Yeah.
Oh.
She was on not American Gladiator. She was on some.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
Similar.
Oh yeah, no, I think she was. She was a gladiator.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
So she has that competitive nature in her. She probably knows. Okay, this is how you play the game, and I'm going to show my team. So I think it's kind of at her advantage.
Yeah.
And she's cementing her place because Jillian has been impossible to replace. They tried to fire her a couple of times and she kept coming back. I think she's really out to keep this place.
Yeah, she is.
It's crazy to me how much she looks like Jillian.
I know.
Even she has like a deeper voice, kind of like
smart casting.
Smart I'm just
casting.
Like, the viewers are gonna so easily, gravitate towards her because it's like you're watching the same trainer.
But she's more articulate and more loving as well.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. I know so. No, but I also know because I speak to the eliminated contestants every Friday, and I do know that.
You do?
Yeah. Yes. At Reality Wanted every Friday, I have a phone call with the contestants, the eliminated contestants.
I'll get them.
Yeah.
I will. We're just not allowed to see them until the end of the show, but we'll get them.
Of course.
But just for some inside info, Jess and Jen are on the phone to their to all contestants every single day.
I love that.
Every single day.
Wow.
And it's really funny because they always go, oh, yes, Jess and Jen. Yeah, we hear from Jess and Jen all the time. 2 new trainers on the block. I'd be ringing everybody, making sure that they love you too.
Yeah.
So they're doing a good job. So Red, Dolvett, he's up. Numbers again. Yeah, kind of half-half.
Yeah.
Starts off slow. Then he gets
Picks it up.
Mike, my favourite Mike. I'm telling you, Mike.
I like Mike.
He's walking up onto the scale and he can barely
wobbling.
walk.
He's putting everybody to shame. If he's injured, losing what he lose 9 pounds.
Yeah. And I think he was like 11 or 12 last week, and then that huge number the week before. Yeah, like what? So yeah, he brings it home. Scott 11, Red are safe. So Dolvett's kind of like, oh, thank God, I'm the old trainer on the floor.
They've got some work to do.
Yeah.
And then Blue, okay, so it's a white going to lose it or a blue going to win it. And the numbers for Blue are horrendous.
Yeah.
Like,
come on, Jessie.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had great numbers at all.
And to be honest, I don't know if he really does it for me.
Yeah.
Oh, he's pretty.
He's pretty to look at, but I don't know if he does it for me.
Yeah.
I'll have to grow.
Staring at him is not going to shed the pounds, that's for sure.
I like looking at Jen more than I like looking at him.
She's got, have you seen her arms?
Her biceps are ridiculous.
That during the show, I'm like, her biceps and her quads are to die for. She was wearing that nice white dress.
Yes.
I'm like, I need that workout regimen right there, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, and they've been putting their Twitter handles up, trying to kind of increase their Twitter feeds. It's like, it's AFTERBUZZ TV, Fly. Go away.
I know, right?
He's trying to get in on the action. So the only decent number was Damien, was a 9, and everything else was a 3, a 2. Gina and Chandra did a 1.
Yeah.
1 pound?
Chandra, how do you say her name?
Chandra.
She just didn't do it for me at all. When she got up there and did 1 pound, I was just like, if I was on your team, you'd be going home. I'm sending you home.
And I think she knew too. Because even when she got up there after she saw the 1 pound, she gave her, her last minute plea to the team of like, yeah, but I deserve to be here.
Oh yeah, she said if I go home, I'm going to fail.
Yeah, she threw in that pity. She's smart though. She was smart.
Party.
She's like, just hoping that maybe, because I think she knew that she was going to be on the chopping block.
If what you're saying is true, where the weigh-in is actually after, a 3 or 4 week time spans, how do you lose 1 pound?
Yeah.
That is not acceptable.
Well, it could have been a short week. I mean, that is the thing. This might have been like a real week.
Even if it's a short week and you're working out 3 hours a day.
I know.
Yeah.
That is unacceptable.
Well, it could be the time of the month. I mean, let's not get into too many details, but that can. But no, okay. I agree.
It's not acceptable. If you're if that is your only job, is to work out. You're not at a job. You're not. There's no distraction.
Yeah,
Right.
true.
I'd be doing push-ups in my sleep if I was on that
Yeah.
show.
And traditionally the winners who win are the ones who don't stop moving. And the guy who's the footballer who is running the training session, whose name eludes me, he kind of said, we haven't stopped moving. We haven't Scott. Mm-hmm. And Scott got a decent number. He got
Scott
11
lost
pounds.
11. He lost the most.
Yeah, and he said we should call ourselves excessive motion. And we called one of the winners in the history of Biggest Loser worldwide. We had a guy who was the oldest, and he lost 10 pounds 10 kilos, which is 22 pounds every week.
Oh, wow.
And he could only walk because he had an injury. 22 pounds. Amazing. We called him Mr. Perpetual Motion. and the real winners are the ones who don't stop moving.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be a real, possible contender for...
Yeah, slow and steady, you wins the race.
Completely agree.
If you just keep on moving. Even this summer when I was losing weight, I am not a runner. I get shin splints. I hate running.
Yeah.
It's this love-hate relationship that I have with it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Every day I'd wake up and I would say, if I'm not going to run, I'm going to get on that elliptical, and I'm 45 minutes or more every single day. And then, I do my boot camps, but I don't think I ran all summer. And I lost 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And it's even though I was, on that elliptical, I'm not going that fast, but even, walking around the track, if I didn't want to run, I was still moving.
Yeah, it's that consistency, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
So we're into the elimination room, and I thought Laurie was going to go because she'd been moaning all week, going, I want to go home, I want to be with my family. And I always say, don't say I want to go home. Just don't.
Exactly, because then you will go home.
Yeah.
Right? Just don't
plant that seed in people's heads.
People don't appreciate the opportunity that they're getting. Like, why did you even apply for Biggest Loser?
Yeah.
So many people would love to have that opportunity to change their life, to change their family's lives.
Well, and thousands of people apply.
Yeah.
And I'm always blown away when people give up and do that. I have absolutely no respect for people who do that. They come and they go, no, I don't want to be here. I want to go home.
Yeah.
Like, and everyone at home is like, no.
Yeah. Because you're taking somebody's spot.
Yeah. So anyway, it's not so much a landslide, but Chandra's going home. She's bye-bye. Well, home.
I liked what Damien said too. He was just real. He's like, you know what? It's hard enough to motivate yourself, but to sit there and have to motivate somebody all the time, it drags you down. It takes, if you have to worry about, this chick, I got to motivate her, but then I got to focus on myself. We don't need you. You're holding the team down.
Yeah.
Dead weight.
Absolutely.
Goodbye to the dead weight. It's my favourite moment when they turn off the little cupboard with all their little food items in it, their favourite food items. I don't know. It's just one of those
and
moments.
I just noticed this episode too. I never knew at the elimination they bring it out on food trays.
Food trays, yeah.
That's cute.
Well, there used to be a line that they used for years and years, and it's time to cut the fat. And they used it in the American one, and they brought it over to the Australian one. And I hated using that line.
Why?
Because I don't know. It's just horrible, and it's mean, and
It is kind of cheesy.
pick on the fat people because it's just mean, and I don't want to do it because I've been fat. And So, but then we'd kind of laugh a lot, and then we'd get into trouble and have to be all serious. It's time to cut the fat.
There you go.
So we cut the fat, and Chandra goes not home, but to Comeback Canyon, and it's her and Andrea who are going to battle it out. And I think Andrea will go next week, and we'll keep chopping and changing until a decent player comes in. And that's it, pretty much.
Yep.
That's it. Oh, and the flashback to how was it Andrea? Oh, Andrea. No, yeah, how Andrea. Oh no, it's Emmy who stays. Emmy and Emmy and Chonda.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me. Because Andrea, we catch up with her at the end, and she's lost 60 pounds.
Yeah.
With her husband. She said her husband's lost 50 pounds.
And I like what she said too. She's in charge, the director of a dance team, a professional dance team. And she kind of felt like a hypocrite. She's like, how can I sit here and motivate these girls to do what they do and I'm not even in shape? So I love that testimony. It's true. And I don't know. I felt the connection with that. I was like, I so understand you.
Absolutely.
She's working out with her family and it's great, happy
even
stories.
Her husband lost a lot of weight and her
50
kid
pounds.
looks good. And
We love Biggest Loser.
Yeah.
It's all happy story, happy ending, and that's really it. And we're going to see some big numbers next week by the white team, and I think it'll be big numbers all around next week.
Predictions?
Yeah, big numbers. That's my prediction. Yeah.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I predict Dolvett's going to make a comeback. You know, I think Jen, because Dolvett's competitive. I think Jen, kind of showing him up. He's going to have to pull some things out of his sleeve for this one. I think he's going to really step it up and get on his team, especially that after he had to eat all that food.
Oh, yeah.
He's upset. So,
yeah,
I think Dolvett's team is going to make a comeback, and I think Damien's going to turn it up now that he got the dead weight off of his team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I call a landslide white team weigh-in. I could be wrong. They might not have waterloaded.
Yeah.
Who knows? Prediction?
I don't know. I'm still with I'm going with Dolvett. I think the red team, they're ready to really get in there and make some things happen. I want to pull for the underdog and go for Jessie, but just the team. I mean, I think Damien's going to come out on top again and really try to motivate his team. But at the end of the day, you can be the biggest captain all you want to, but if your team's not behind you, it's going to be tough. So I think the blue team's going to have another tough time next week.
Well, stay tuned. It's very exciting. We're all hooked. And make sure you can do the business end of it because I'm brand new about the downloading thing and all that. I didn't do that last week because I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, you did a great job. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to tune in next week. Same time, same place. I'm Fallon Mercedes. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at FitWithFallon. And make sure to tune into fitwithfallon.com for all your athletes and celebrities' health and fitness regimens. Where can they find you?
And I'm Morgan Martin. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at ms_Morgan Martin.
And I'm AJ Rochester, and you can find me everywhere at AJ Rochester, and probably maybe a little bit too much of me everywhere. And every Friday at Reality Wanted for the eliminated contestant interview.
Yes, I'll have to listen to that for The Biggest Loser. You guys make sure to tune in next week. We love you. Comment, rate, subscribe. 5 stars on YouTube, and we'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.